Hello, Assalamu alaikum friends. Welcome to lecture 15 of SBL. Today's topic is strategic choice. This is one of the most important topic in your strategy under your section C, and this is one of the longest lecture I would say. Okay, this lecture is so long that I had to divide this lecture into three parts. Yes, you have heard it right. I had to divide this lecture into three parts because there is no chance of me taking this in one lecture, because if I take all this in one lecture it will exceed 4 hours. Okay, and I know the retention rate of the student that they cannot watch such a long video rather than me dividing it into three different parts. Now I'm going to take you through what are we going to discuss in this lecture. This is the first part of your strategic choice, and if you say in terms of section C strategy, this is your last video, because before this I have 4 lectures. So this topic itself, strategic choice, is the last topic under your strategy, but it's going to be divided into 3 different parts. So you can see 3, after this 2 more videos are coming up. Okay, and the lecture the chapters in your textbook that has been used, there are 2 chapters, chapter 5 and chapter 6, that has been used here. Okay, in chapter 5 itself is chapter 5 I had to divide it into 2 different parts. Okay, and chapter 6 is a whole new chapter. Okay, that will be your part 3. I hope I'm clear enough and you people are not confused. So what we are going to discuss in this is competitive strategy options. Earlier we have discussed the position in my previous lecture. What is the strategic position? How do you analyze a strategic position? External analysis, internal analysis. We have done the SWOT, the PESTEL, the value chain, all those things. Now we are moving from there, we are moving towards strategic choice. From strategic position to strategic choice. How do you compete? Which direction do you take? What are the options that you have? In this lecture we are going to cover so many different models. Okay, and this is the most, because this is a very technical area. If you see, this is a very technical area. Without the support of the models, you will not be able to answer this. There are certain models you have to know it. It's like BMAS, like BCG matrix, ANSOF matrix. You have to know it. Okay, so first we are going to go through the competitive strategy options. How do you compete? There are various ways. Okay, there are 3 different ways to compete, which we are going to cover. Sustaining competitive advantage. Okay, how do you sustain that competitive advantage? That also we are going to cover. Then we are moving towards growth strategies. Okay, there are ways to grow. If you want to grow your organization to the next level, there are different strategies. Then we are moving towards strategy evaluation. That is the SAF model. Okay, then we are moving towards the methods of strategic development. So your competitive strategy options and sustaining competitive advantage will be covered in this lecture. Growth strategy and your SAF model will be covered in your part 2, and methods of strategic development comes in your chapter 6 in your Kaplan SBL textbook. That will be part 3. That itself is a whole big chapter. Strategic development will be covered in your part 3 of the same topic. Okay, so let us start with the competitive strategy options. Okay, what is strategic choice? First you need to understand that before you go to the strategic options. Before you choose a strategy, what is strategic choice? And why do you have to choose a strategy? Because after what you have analyzed by using your previous model, like SWOT analysis, PESTEL, Porter's diamond, Porter's 5 forces, you must have known where your organization stands at. What is your position compared to the market, or compared to the competitor, or compared to the environment, where you stand. So strategic choice is a way of closing that gap between what the organization is at the moment and where you want to be in the future. So you choose a strategy which will lead you to that future, better future. You are planning something. Okay, let's say my weakness in my SWOT analysis. Okay, I am facing this is my weakness. What is my weakness? You are not updated in the technology things. Okay, you're not technologically advanced. That is your weakness. So what can you do? That you came to know through the analysis, SWOT analysis. Now you have to choose a strategy. How do you turn your weakness into strength? How do you become advanced in the technology field. That is your future. You want to do that in the future so that you can become competitive, so that you can have a competitive advantage. So you can see that there's a difference between your current and the future. There's a gap. That gap is fulfilled by having a strategic choice. That's why we go for the strategic choice. There are so many strategic choices which we are going to cover. Okay, that is the whole point of why we are studying these strategic choices and all. Okay, and when you're choosing strategy, it's not that whatever you like you choose. No, it's not like that. You have to choose a strategy which best suits your mission. Okay, every company has a mission statement. It should suit your mission statement. Let's say your mission statement is to grow your company every 5% by 5%. In 5 years you want to see your company having let's say sales worth of 10 million. That's your mission statement. So you have to choose a strategy today that will lead you to that goal. Okay, and it has to be feasible. It has to be feasible using a strategic capabilities. We have studied what is strategic capabilities in the previous lecture. The resources, the competences. It should be you should have the resources if you want to grow. You should have the resources. If you don't, you have to acquire it. But it should be feasible. Okay, that means strategic capabilities has to be there. Using it only you can implement your strategy and gives it the best fit with this environment. It should fit with your environment. Okay, whatever you have analyzed, if it fits, if these three things conditions are satisfied, suits your mission, feasible with your strategic capabilities, is the best fit for the environment, your strategic choice is a good one. Okay, there is no wrong strategic choice or correct strategic choice. Okay, it's about what is good for your organization or what is bad for your organization. Okay, then so this lecture examines three key elements of strategic choice. What is it? What are the three elements of strategic choice? Number one, competitive strategies. Number two, growth strategy. And number three, strategy evaluation. So competitive strategies, how do you compete with your rivals? On what basis? You compete with your competitors on the basis of the quality or the cost. Growth strategy is how do you achieve growth? Do you acquire your rivals, accusation, or you grow organically, or you diversify? How do you do that? Strategy evaluation. After you have choose the strategy, you have made some choices, right? 2-3 choices you have, and you have selected one. You choose. You must have 3-4 strategies choices. Now you evaluate. Evaluate means good and bad. You see the pros and the cons, which is the best available option for you, and then you implement. So starting with the competitive strategy options. Okay, from here your technical part starts, where we are going to use a model. This is not a model, but you can call it as Michael Porter's model. Okay, for competitive strategy. He says there are 3 generic strategies through which any company can achieve a competitive advantage. What are those? We'll see in the next slide. Okay, but remember, if a business fails to achieve any one of the strategic position, that means he's not in any of these 3 category. Then it is said that he's stuck in the middle. What is stuck in the middle? It's not a good thing, by the way. It's not a good term. He will lose customers who will move down market to the cost leader. That means he's neither cost leader. Okay, he's not competing based on cost. He's not the lowest cost producer. So if he's not the lowest cost producer, he's going to lose customers because customers are going to go to the cost leader. And if he's not differentiating his goods, like he's not competing on the quality, he's going to lose customers from there also because they will go to the differentiators. Okay, and he's not even focusing on his niche market, the focus group. There also he's going to lose customers. You're understanding? So he's stuck somewhere in the middle. He's neither here, neither there, or neither in the third category, which is a bad one. Now, let's go through this table. You need to understand this. There are 3 ways you can compete. 3 competitive strategy or Porter's generic strategy. What is it? Number 1, cost leadership. You can compete based on cost. You can compete based on differentiation. You can compete based on focus. These are the 3 ways you can compete. But once you choose, you have to be consistent with it. Unless later things come up that you cannot be consistent because market changed or you cannot compete any longer in that field, then we might change. It's possible that sometimes you start initially as a cost leadership, later you think it's better, now you have the resources, you can compete on a differentiation scale, then you move on to differentiation. So you can keep changing from one thing to another. It's not that it has to be fixed forever or you are in one box You have to be forever a cost leadership or a focus. But most of the time, it has been seen that firms, once they start initially, they stay in that thing. For example, Apple. Apple is a very good example. If you say Apple, what is Apple? Which technique is Apple using? Which technique is the high tech companies using? Differentiation. They differentiate. They differentiate. That's why they charge a premium price. Until now, they're in that differentiation category only. Okay, but some products of it, they try to change that strategy. They try to be a cost leadership and give it to the mass market, but they have incurred failure there as well. We are going to see that as an example later on. Okay, so let's start with the cost leadership. What is the aim of this three? Very simply, we'll explain here. Later on, we are going to go in depth in these three strategies because it's very important that you should know. Okay, in your exam, sometimes they might say you, if you are lucky enough, they might tell you, okay, this company is following a cost leadership or differentiation strategy or a focus strategy. But most of the time, they don't say clearly. You need to use a judgment using the information, reading the information, what category it falls into, how they are company. Is it cost leadership, differentiation, or focus? Based on that, you have to write your answers. You are writing the company, so company's differentiation strategy they are using, but you are writing answers for the cost leadership, then you are not going to get marks. Okay. So what is the aim of the cost leadership? Simply to cut down on cost and also in the selling price. Because if you cut cost means selling price also you can reduce. Differentiation, you are unique. No one is as similar to you, and that's why you charge a premium for that. Okay. And focus is, it's like a differentiation, but you are in a particular niche. You are not serving the mass market. You are in a particular niche. Okay. For example, the services that I am giving right now to you on online, on YouTube, this is a niche market, a focus group. Why? Because I'm not serving the entire market. My group is only ACCA students. I'm only focusing on that category of students. So this is a focus group. That is my niche. You understanding? Now, example, how do you compete? If it's in the cost leadership, economies of scale. Why economies of scale? Because you have been producing goods in a volume. Cost leadership is usually for a mass market. Okay. You take Coca-Cola, you take Pepsi. There are so many products which is for cost leadership. Okay. This, I mean, I'm giving example that they serve in the mass market. So they have an economies of scale. When you produce things in a large volume, your cost reduces, cost per unit reduces, you are gaining an economies of scale. But economies of scale is not possible in differentiation and focus group. It is possible in the cost leadership. So you can compete based on economies of scale. That means if a new what do I say? A competitor wants to enter your market, they will find it very difficult to compete with you because you have an economies of scale. Your cost will always be lower than them. They cannot compete on that cost at the initial stage when they come. Second, use of learning effect. As I told you, over the years, you keep on doing the same thing. Now you know through your learning, you make less mistakes. Through your learning, now you know how to do a thing faster, how to make the product in a much faster way, much efficient way, and with the least waste. Third, large production runs. As I told you, automobile industry, the car, the Honda that you take, the Honda, the Mazda, these are examples of cost leadership. They are competing based on cost. They give a large market, right? But some automobile industry like BMW, Mercedes, they are in the differentiation category. They focus on that, or you might say focus, the top brand, the top earners. Using cheaper labor and materials. Yes, cost leadership, they use cheap labor and materials because what is their aim? To cut cost. Cut cost means they will cut cost everywhere, whether it is for the material, whether it is for the labor. Then the last is moving to the cheaper premises. They always have the advantages. They will be choosing a location which is cheap. They do not want an entire premium location at the premium side. It's not needed. Okay. Next, moving to the differentiation. How do they compete? Brand. Differentiation, they need a brand. You need a strong brand if you are in the differentiation category. Then quality and design. Your quality and design has to be the most important quality of your product. Innovation, you have to be able to innovate all the time. Knowledge management, you have to manage your knowledge. What are your knowledge? Like patent. Make sure that your product is patented because it's unique. It can easily be copied by the competitor. Okay. And if it's successful, then what are the other knowledge management? Your staff. Keep your staff with you because they know how to make it. If they know how, keep it. Control over suppliers. Yes. people who differentiate organization, they should have a very good control over their supplier, because not many suppliers produce such things or give such raw materials to the organization. But if you're in a differentiation this thing, only very few suppliers will be dealing with that product because it's new. Unlike in the cost leadership, you'll be having multiple of suppliers there who are competing. You can easily get the cheaper supply over there, but here you should have a control over them, because if they do not give you the material, you will not be able to make the product. You should have a good relationship, because in cost leadership you can easily change the supply. You can switch from supplier to supplier. There is no issue about it. Differentiation, you have a very limited supplier, so you have to keep a control over them. And then support, you need a support. Okay, coming to the focus. Focus is, how do you compete in focus? Reduction in product range. Your ranges are less, okay, because you are only giving to particular customer, not the wide. Okay, differentiation also could be for a wide, okay, it's wider than focus, I would say. Okay, because it could be for many customers, many segments are there in the differentiation thing. Okay, it's just that your price is premium and you're unique, but focus is for particular niche. That's why products are smaller, ranges are smaller. And then find a segment where the cost leader or the differentiations have little or no presence and build business here. Yes, you have to first find out. To find a focus, you need to know where the cost leaders are not competing, where the differentiations are not. Then you select a particular niche for it. Okay. Now moving on to the benefits. What are the benefits of this? You have to know the benefits of this, because in the exam you might be asked to compare or why this one is better than that. Okay, see, there is no good or bad, no correct or wrong answer. It depends on your organizations, what is your mission, what is your objective. Based on that, you have to select the strategy. Okay, for example, if you write that your mission statement is to be the lowest affordable to everyone, or the lowest cost produce in the market, you cannot go and choose a differentiation strategy. You cannot go and choose a focus strategy. You have to choose the cost leadership, because that is your mission statement. Suppose your mission statement, so your strategy should be something that suits with the mission statement, suits with the capabilities, the resources that you have, right? So things like that. Now let's start with the benefit. Cost leadership, high volume, we know. Create a barrier to entry, yes, because you are competing on cost, because you have economies of scale, because you have a learning curve. Other competitors or substitutes cannot come and compete with you. It will create a barrier. That means threat to entrance. Not a new entrance cannot come and compete there successfully. It's a barrier for them. Then can operate in unattractive segments. Yes. Cost leadership, they can go to any segment, and even if it's unattractive, they can go and operate it there. Why? Low cost. Which customer does not want item at low cost? Even if the segment is unattractive, even if that segment is not interested, initially they will not. But if you go and say that you are the lowest cost producer there, they will be attracted. When price wars, they win through price wars. They try to keep, everyone is competing based on prices only. Who is the best? Which producer is having the lowest price? Everyone will run for that. It's like a war going on. Then reduce the power of substitutes. Just because it creates a barrier to entry, even the power of substitutes reduces. Substitutes cannot come if the new entrance does not come, because your new entrance only will be your substitutes later on. So if entrance cannot come, it's a barrier to entry. How can there will be a substitute for your product? So it reduces the power of that. Coming to the differentiation, builds brand loyalty and repeat purchases. They do not focus on price. Their thing is on loyalty, quality, long term. Okay, so they bring brand loyalty, and brand loyalty itself only will bring the customer back to them, because customers know that there is no one like them. They're differentiated. Second, higher margins, because they charge premium, their margins will be higher than the cost leadership. And third, reduction in power of customers. Customers cannot go and have a say. Customers cannot dictate their terms over in the organization. Why? Because customers know that okay, if this organization, the one who is differentiating, they do not give the product or services to the customer does not receive from the customers, cannot switch to the alternative. They do not have a substitute. You understand it? Because they're differentiated. Not everyone does it. So they cannot switch to the substitute. That's why they cannot have a power. Their power is reduced. Okay, coming to the focus. Focus, again, they develop brand loyalty. Okay, you need to develop a brand loyalty. Second, little competition, very little competition, because you are in a niche. Later on, yes, even your niche could be targeted by the big firms. If they see, okay, this niche is focusing very well, people will come and try to catch that. But that is a later stage. Initially, there's little competition. And third, often a first step towards the other generic strategies. Yes, this could be a first step towards other generic strategy. Maybe from here afterwards, you can move on to differentiation or a cost leadership. But mostly, this is a benefit. Why this is a benefit? Because usually it's better to target initially when you're going. Good thing is go for the focus rather than cost leadership and differentiation, because they're already huge. The market is already huge over there. Focus is very small. You know what is your talent, you know what is your strengths, you know the opportunity is there. You go and target, you will easily get the market. Once you get there, it's easy for you to go to the other two parts, differentiation or cost leadership. You choose from there which one is better for you. Because if your niche is satisfied, once you know the market of your niche, you will be able to replicate this in the other segments also where you have not served yet. That means serving the wider market. You are going wider and wider now. So that means now it depends whether you want to compete based on differentiation, the quality, or the cost. So accordingly, you will choose cost leadership or differentiation. Now moving on to the threads, the issues with this three. We studied benefits. Now what are the threads? Threads of the cost leadership. If the leadership is lost, then you are gone. Once you lose the leadership, once you fall down from that cost leadership, you no longer are the most what do I say, you are not the cost leadership anymore. Halas, you are gone, because competition is very quick now. New firms keep coming. Okay, everyone is competing based on prices. Once you lose the market, it's very hard to go again to that position, gain that position back. Second, larger rivals possibly from overseas may enter the market. Yes, larger rivals are seeing that this market is very competitive. Okay, so they see and they try to come and enter that market. It could be even the overseas firm also. Okay, third, strong currency makes imports cheaper. What about the currency risk if you are importing exporting? Have you thought about it? So if your strong currency makes imports cheaper, that means they will want, the domestic market might want to, they feel it's better to import rather than buy from their local market, because local market is more expensive than the imports now. So you are going to lose the market. The domestic market is going to lose the market against the international market. Then move on to the differentiation. What are the threads in differentiation? Perform badly in a recession. In a recession, differentiation is not a good thing. No one wants to charge. No one wants a high amount to go from their market, from their pocket during recession. They want to save, right? Saving thing. So differentiation is a premium brand. You have to charge premium. No one is willing. And plus, people who compete then the differentiation strategy are usually making those kind of products which are not essential, like your food. During recession, you want food or not? Are you going to cut back on food? No. You need medicine. You need medicine. But differentiation things are like luxurious type of product, like your phone, your expensive, your luxurious car. You don't need, you can cut back on this expense. So they perform badly in recession. Second, often easily copied in the long run. Yes, in the long run, you cannot keep the differentiation forever. Easily you will be copied. That's a thread. Third, you need to constantly innovate. Innovation, and how long can you innovate? There is a time where you cannot innovate. Up to a point, yes, you can. So constantly you need to innovate. It's a pressure on you, adding a pressure. Then you need much higher marketing than cost leadership. Your marketing, people who are differentiating needs higher marketing than cost leadership. Everyone knows you're the lowest cost. Word of mouth is spread very quickly when you are giving the lowest cost. Okay, but for differentiation, you are a unique. Not everyone has your product. You need to go and advertise and put those promotions. You need to market that you are different, why you are different, how you are different. You need to show them to your customer. You need to convince them basically. But cost leadership, they do not have to convince, because easily from their prices, they don't care about anything. Their prices are low, customers will go back to them. But you are competing not just on cost. What is your quality? What are the features that you are different? What makes you different? If the customers, you can convince that you are different and they feel that you are different, they will be able to, they will, you can acquire them. Otherwise, you are going to lose the customer. Fewer entries, barriers to entry. Yes, entry here compared to cost leadership are few. Like if anyone wants to come, they can come. Why? Because anyone can come and have their own idea. They can differentiate, right? If you have differentiated in a certain way, another firm might try to differentiate your product in another different way, which you might not have thought of. So barriers to entry are few. Okay, because this market is not very competitive compared to cost leadership. It is not a saturated market, so firms can enter. Then smaller volumes. Yes, volumes are smaller because it's a differentiation only for a particular needs that has not been satisfied by the cost leadership. Coming to the focus. Focus again is the low volume, even lower than differentiation also. And focus, if successful, it attracts cost leaders. If successful, remember, if you are successful in a niche, what if you are not successful? You cannot attract cost leaders and differentiator. Okay, but if successful, it attracts. So if attracts means now you're going to get competition from two sides, differentiation also and the cost leadership also for the focus group, which you will not be able to bear because your volume is less. So you cannot divide your prices among a huge volume and get a higher margin. Your margin will be less, your profit will be less because you are giving only low volumes. You are dependent on those low volumes for a profit. Understanding? Then fewer barriers to entry. Same like differentiation, barriers to entry are few because it's your niche. Okay, someone if they want to enter your niche, it's harder because why? See, when you are targeting a niche, right? What goes in the customer's mind is that this is the first one. When you get this fast move advantage, if you are the first one to start with it, no matter what, customers usually stick with you till the end. They do not want to switch to another one who comes up with a similar idea. Okay, I can give example of my this thing. Okay, initially when I started YouTube, okay, this was my focus. I have a clear thing in my mind. I know whom to target. I know that this channel is for ACCA, so this is my focus group, niche group. Okay, so now what's happening, there might be other students or other affiliates or members who are doing the similar work like me. Okay, but since I was the first one to enter in a sense of usually people give lectures, but my lectures, if you see, they are very detailed, which usually are paid lectures. If you go for any other institution, any other lecturer, they'll be charging you for this. Whereas this is free of charge for you. This lecture I'm giving is free of charge. And I didn't come across any YouTube channel where you will see all this ACCA lectures free of charge. You understanding? So this is my niche which I have targeted. Now if someone wants to come and enter, it will be very hard for them. Why? Because I have got that loyalty from my students. They trust on me, they trust on this thing, and they know my market is already there. Right? I don't need to say. Everyone knows about it. So if I ask you this question, will you want to go to someone else? Knowing my work, for you have been with me, there has been some students who has been with me from the start of this channel since 2 years. So if I ask you this, now they have that trust in my services that I give. They have achieved good marks. Lots of students have passed out. They are recommending to someone else. So if someone else wants to come and start it again from the beginning, yes, he might be able to target it, but it will initially take a long time. And by the time he or she gets established in that field, what I'm doing right now, I will be in the next level. So he will not be able to compete with me directly in that sense. Okay. So barriers to entry of, so you see, that's an advantage that focus group has. But again, disadvantages are barriers to entry of few. Not so much of, it's not protected like how cost leadership or differentiation. You don't have patent or you don't have anything. Anyone can come and enter. But it will take time. I'm showing you the other side which I have not written here in the slide. Coming to the suitability. Which firm can go for the cost leadership? Only those firms which are large organizations. Not everyone can compete on the cost. If you're a large organization, you can easily compete because you have economies of scale. You have the resources. Differentiation, they are for those companies which wants to take a risk, who are innovative companies, which have a large marketing budgets. Your marketing budget has to be large. And for focus is for small businesses with strong market knowledge and a risk-taking attitude. You should be able to take a risk. Focus itself is a risk because you are dependent on few volumes only. Your business is small, but your strong market knowledge you have. That's what makes you have a foothold in the focus category. Okay. How does one become a cost leader? Now we'll deep dive down into the three categories: cost leader, differentiation, focus. How does one become a cost leader? I'm going to be a little quick on these things, okay? Because as I told you, this lecture is really going to be long. I think it's going to exit 2 hours because in between we have questions also, test your understanding that I need to do. So how does one become cost leader? Decide whom you are competing against. Okay, if any one of you, I'm telling you, the one who's watching, the students who's going to watch this, if you are planning to start a business, you want to become a cost leader in your industry, decide whom you are going to compete against. You should know your competition. Tesco, M&H, Harrods, Food Hall. Okay, these are some competitors, well-known competitors. Second, perform value analysis to determine why customers value the product. Rather than just making some product and giving it at a low cost will not make you successful. You should know what actually your customers value, that why they value that product. You have to do a value analysis in that. What are the key features that you have? Okay, that have to be matched. Okay, that could be dropped or that could be added. Some key features you need to add. If it's there, customers will value. Some, if you drop also, it will not affect so much. Some you need to match with the competitor. So you have to decide this. Think about this. Okay, because you are the cost leader, you have to think in terms of cost. Okay, so those products which customers value the most has to be there, even if its cost is there. Other things which are not so important, not value adding to the product, you can deduct, you can reduce it. You should not put it there because it's going to increase your cost, because you want to be a cost leader. Third, understand your own cost and cost drivers. What is your own cost and cost drivers? Fourth, try to make a product of comparable quality for a lower cost. Compare, okay? Quality should not suffer. See, cost leader does not mean you're not at all caring about quality. It's not like that. Otherwise, in the long run, you will not be able to hold the market. Okay? That means quality has to be there. Keep a comparable quality, not very high quality. Okay? But at a lower cost. Okay? To do that, you need to have a full analysis of the value chain. What is value chain? What is value chain? If I ask you this question now, tell me. We have gone through this in the previous lecture. Value chain is where we have divided our elements into 5 primary and 4 supporting activities. Remember, inbound logistics, marketing, operation, outbound logistics, services, marketing, then we have procurement, all those things. So wherever you can reduce you have to see those elements where you can reduce the cost. To do that, do the analysis of the value chain. Advantages of being a cost leader. We have gone through this briefly. So quickly I will just run through the list. Better margins through lower cost. Ability to undercut competitors on price. Okay. Thus reducing competitive rivalry. Third, low cost act as a barrier to entry, deterring new entrants. If you are the lowest cost, it's hard for the other one to come and compete with you on that scale. Low price makes substitutes less attractive. If you are the lowest, no one will want to go to the substitute. Better margins give more scope to absorb pressure from powerful buyers and suppliers. Yes, if you are having a better margin, remember, you can deal with the pressure if you are having with a powerful buyer or a supplier. You can easily deal with it. And low cost gives a platform for expansion. How? By gaining market share and moving into new markets. You can easily gain the market share by having the low cost. You can gain maximum customer from your rivals because you are the low cost, and you can easily expand even into the new markets also. So these are some advantages of cost leader. What are the drawbacks? Everything has a drawback also. In industries that require only low critical mass of production, that means production output is not needed so much, very less. Okay, in those industries cost leadership will be difficult to achieve. You cannot achieve economies of scale because your products are less, so you cannot achieve cost leadership. You cannot, it will be difficult for you to achieve because many other firms would be able to match the cost. Okay, and it is only when the critical mass of production is high that a cost leadership strategy is likely to be effective. When your mass of production, when you're producing at a high quantity, only you can achieve cost leadership strategy will work. Otherwise, it will not work. For example, companies, cars like Rolls-Royce, BMW, Mercedes, Audi. If you ask them, they will not be able to achieve economies of scale. Cost leadership is not the right technique for them. Why? Because they are making cars once in a year. How many cars they are making? Just go in the Google and check the quantity. They are making very less cars compared to companies like Toyota. You go and check how many cars they are making. They are making cars in a vast quantity, so they can easily reduce their cost. They are the cost leadership. These people are the differentiation. Okay. What is the other drawbacks? Only room for one cost leader. Only one can be a leader, no? Others are followers only. In a market, only one could be a leader, the others are followers. So same like cost. If you're the lowest cost, you can only be the leader. Okay. But no fallback position if the cost advantage is eroded. If you lose that cost advantage, you have nothing else that can make you stay there. Because you are only staying in that market for a long term because you have a position. You are the cost leader. Once the position goes, you're gone. Then, so, and how do you lose the cost advantage? It can happen because of many reasons. One is inflation. Prices keeps going high. Okay, so now you no longer can keep the prices low. You also have to increase the prices, otherwise you are going to lose. Second, movements in exchange rate. Exchange rates might go against your favor. It might not favor you. Competitors using more modern manufacturing technology through which they can reduce the cost much lower than you. Or they might have cheap overseas labor. So things like this can erode your cost advantage. Customers may prefer to pay extra for a better product. See, customers, what do they want? They always want a product which is better, which makes their life faster, better. So if they can see a product, even if its cost is more, but it's a better product, customers will be willing to pay that extra. Customers will be willing to pay that extra because it's giving them a better product and also is saving their time also rather than negotiating for the lower cost. So they prefer to pay extra. So that's a drawback for a cost leader. Ways of achieving differentiation. Now let us go on to the differentiation category. How do you achieve differentiation? There are many ways of achieving differentiation, not just one. There are 4 ways in fact. First way is quality differentiation. You can differentiate based on the quality. Based on the quality means what? Your features of the product, you make them better. Okay, so fundamentally you are not different. Product wise you are not different, but the way the features of some product is better. Okay, it's just better. That is how you are differentiating on quality. Second is design differentiation. You on the basis of design. Okay, that means something is different in your product, in the way you package or the way you design is different. Okay, maybe a certain product has certain dominant design. Maybe let's say a bottle. If I say bottles are in a, what do I say? They're in the rectangle, and you try to come up with a triangle design. Okay, so that's you're differentiating based on a design. Third, image differentiation. What is image differentiation? Actually, the product is not different. Okay, actual differentiation does not exist, but it is your marketing that makes your product looks different. Okay, that means you are creating an image for in your customer, in the mind of the customer for your product. Okay, it could be many differences like cosmetic differences. It does not enhance the performance of the product in any serious way. Like packaging, the way you package might be different from the way others are packaging. Maybe it is done in such a way that it is eye-catching, or things like that, right? Fourth way is support differentiation. This is more substantial, but still no effect on the product. No effect on the product itself. That means this is something that you can say it goes along with the product. You buy the product, you will get this also with the product. Some basis of support, like you can say after sale service. You get this, with that we'll give you after sale service. Okay. Now, rewards of a differentiation strategy. We are done with the ways of achieving differentiation, the 4 ways: quality, design, then support, and image. Now let us go to the rewards of the differentiation strategy. Better margins, we know, because they can charge premium. Second, higher quality of sex competitive rivalry. If you are given the higher quality, competitors automatically they are going to get wiped out from the market. Second, product uniqueness. If your product is unique, it reduces the customer's power because they do not have a choice to go to another company. Third, quality acts as a barrier to entry. The more you work on quality, other firms cannot come and work on the quality. They will find it difficult to compete on the quality, so it acts as a barrier. That means other entrants cannot come. Quality reduces the attractiveness of substitutes. The more quality you are working on, it reduces. No one will want to go to the substitute if you are giving them the quality. Now, what is the risk of this strategy? There are risks also. Cheap copies. Someone can make your product exactly the way it is, but in a cheaper way. Right? You are charging a premium price. Let's say Apple, you are charging a premium. Someone comes up with Apple, everything they have copied, but it is at cheaper. Okay? Being out differentiated. What is out differentiated? It's your homework. Go and check in the Google. It's very easy. Out differentiated. Customers unwilling to pay the extra. In a recession, as I told you, differentiations are usually for the luxurious product. Customers will not pay for those extra because they think it's not needed. When economy is doing good again, that time they'll be able to pay. But in a recession, they are unwilling to pay the extra. Differentiating factors no longer valued by customers. Sometimes customers do not value those factors for which you have made that product, the differentiation factor, because it could be changes in the fashion and all. Now, focus group. Cost focus, there are two ways that you can focus. Focus on the cost. You keep your cost low, but only for a particular niche. That is the meaning of cost focus. Okay, so that means your products also will be limited range. You are serving a small geographical area so that you can keep the cost low. Okay, another way that you can focus is differentiation focus. Okay, differentiation focus means same like differentiation, but in a niche. Okay, still here also you need to differentiate. What is the reward for a focus, whether cost or differentiation? I'm talking about both. You become an expert in your field and understand the marketplace more. This is exactly where I am right now. I'm in a focus group. Okay, risk. Segment is not sustainable enough to provide the firm with a profitable basis for its operation. This segment itself will not be able to give me the profit that I want. If I want to make profit, I have to move on to more segments. You understanding? Because this is a very small market. I cannot make a huge profit out of this. Now, let us do a question test to understanding. We want to better understand whether you understand or not. What type of generic strategies are the following companies adopting? You must have heard about these famous companies. Okay, if you have not heard, it's fine. But let's see what are the generic strategies that these companies follow. Walmart. Everyone heard about Walmart? Cost leadership. Walmart is into cost leadership. Second, Saga Holidays. Saga Holidays, they specialize in holidays for those over 55. Focus. Okay, they are in the focus. And the third is Bank and Olufsen is in the differentiation. Okay, they differentiate. Now let us move on to the strategic clock. Okay, you are not okay. So this is the strategic clock. The reason why it is named a strategic clock is because it looks like a clock. Okay, it has this, the circle, if you can see. So where do you start from? Which position do you start from? If you're not understanding this diagram, it's okay. We have explanations for all of this. But first, let's see this diagram for a minute before I move on to the explanation. You're not supposed to draw this diagram, by the way. Don't try to memorize it also. It will not come in the exam. You only need to know the explanation part. That how a strategy could be filled in many different ways and where it falls. So starting with number 1, as you can see there are 8. We'll start with number 1. Number 1 is no frills. Second is low price. Third is hybrid. Hybrid means between low price and differentiation. Fourth, differentiation. Fifth, focus differentiation. Sixth, 7 and 8 strategies that will fail. Okay, let us move on to the explanation of this. Route 1 and 2 are price based strategy. Route 1 and 2 means the boxes. Okay, they are named as 1 and 2. That is the meaning of route 1 and 2. So route 1 and 2 are price based strategy. No frills and low price. Low cost, sorry. Okay, so no frills. What is the meaning of no frills? No frills is any commodity. Okay, commodity, like any products or services where customers are very price sensitive. You change a price by a small 1%, customers will move away from your product and they will go to the competitor. That is the meaning of price sensitive customers. You can see the elasticity of demand, no? PED, price elasticity of demand, whether it is elastic, inelastic. So this is a very elastic group. Elastic means you change a price by a small amount, demand falls by a bigger amount. Okay. These products are very simple in nature. Innovation is quickly imitated. That means competitors can easily copy this product or services. Okay. So how do you compete here? Price. Price is your weapon here. Here, if you have to compete, you have to keep your cost very low. Because your product and service is very basic. If you say I want to differentiate, you cannot differentiate because your product and service is very basic. No customers will pay for a product or service which is very basic. Okay. No frills. Second, low price. Low price is little above no frills. Okay. Here still you aim for a low price. But here what do? At least you work on the quality. In the no frills, you don't care about the quality. It's just the cost. Low price, okay, little quality you will bring, and with that you will adjust the price. Okay. Because in the long run, your low price strategy has to be supported by a low cost base. If you want to charge a low price, remember you have to bring down your cost. Otherwise, how are you going to make the profit? How are you going to stay in that organization? So it is not just low price. Keep down your cost and then you can charge low price. With obviously you will be adding some margin to that and you will be having your profit. 3 is a hybrid strategy in between of cost and differentiation. Okay. Here you achieve differentiation, but you also keep the price down. Little you differentiate. Okay. So here you have to work on high volume or some other way through which you can keep your cost down. Okay. Still there will be some cost because you are differentiating based on differentiation, but again you will work on keeping costs down. Then route 4 and 5, that means differentiation and focus differentiation are differentiation strategy. Okay. Here we know what is differentiation. I don't have to explain again. So quickly I will go through it. You offer better products, sell at a higher price. Okay. That means you carefully target them. You carefully target your customer and they are willing to pay you a premium price. Focus differentiation is in a niche. Okay. You give those benefits to a particular niche at a high price. Okay. So if you see the new ventures that starts, they often start with this focus strategies only. But as they move on, they become less focused. Why? Because they need to grow. How long can they stay in that focus strategy and have the profit that they want? They have to grow in it, right? Finally, so they become less focused. The more they want to grow, they become less focused and they move on to the other markets, either differentiation, either cost, because they need to address new markets. And 6, 7, 8 is what I say is not good. It is the failure strategy. The things which you should avoid doing. You should not fall in this 6, 7 and 8. 6, 7 and 8 are ordinary products and services. They are sold at a high price. Okay. That means you are not having your homework done properly. Ordinary products charging at a high price. Remember, this can only work if there is a protected monopoly. If you are protected by the government, if you are a monopoly, let's say water industry. Okay, only one company is giving the water. For example, water is a very ordinary product and services. You can charge high prices. If you want to charge high prices, you can charge high prices. And still it will not be a failed strategy. Why? Because that is the only firm that is giving the water. And everyone, we need water. It's an essential product, right? You cannot live without it. Some organizations, they try option 8 by sneakingly reducing benefits while maintaining prices. What do some organizations do? They try to add smart. How? They will give you the product, but they will reduce the benefits and they will maintain the price. Still they will maintain the price, but they will reduce the benefits that they are giving you. Okay. Now, illustration. Let's illustrate and see how we can use strategic clock in a real world. Okay, no frills. One example of no frill is the airline Ryanair. Okay, you must have heard about it. It's a very well-known airline. Okay, it's a very successful airline. In fact, no frill airline. The reason why it is so known is because it's a no frill airline. What is the meaning of no frill airline? This is airline which is very cheap, very, very cheap, because they keep their costs down. How do they keep their costs down so much? Their seats, they do not recycle the seats. Okay, no back of seat pockets are there. They discourage checked baggages because airport charges for the loading and the unloading baggage and use of cheap airports. Even the airports that they use are very cheap. So if you are a person that likes to travel in a business class, you will not like this offer, or not like these things. You will not like to travel by this airline, right? It's not for you. But it's for those customers who want to travel at a low cost. They don't mind if they do not have extra cleaning. They do not mind if they cannot take extra baggage. They do not mind if they have to use GF airport. Second is low price. Example is Dell computer. They are good quality and they keep their prices low. Okay, how do they rely? They rely on efficient production. Their production techniques are so efficient that their prices automatically falls down and they have a reasonable margin. Third is hybrid. IKEA is a good example of hybrid. IKEAs are cheap furnishing, okay, but they have a smart design and large range of inventories are there. Even if they're cheap, their designs are smart, okay. They keep their cost low. How? Self-service. They give self-service, efficient production, and high volume and excellent logistics there. Differentiation. Example is British Airways. British Airways is a full service airline. Full service airline means they will give you all the services that is required in an airline. They will give you the food, they will give you whatever is needed, right? So that's why prices are high in these flights. They have in-flight service, they have more leg room, customers are better looked after, okay? Then we have focus differentiation. Focus differentiation is your business or first class in a full service airline. In a airline where they are giving you full service like British Airways, your business class and first class is a focus differentiation. You see, inside the differentiation is a focus differentiation. Focus differentiation comes inside the differentiation. Differentiation is British Airways. Inside that they are differentiating a niche. How? Through business class or first class, right? Another example is there, a fashion industry where the market is small, prices are high, and they are sustained by the brand name. Okay, it's a brand. Failing strategy. Okay, now this is the example of failing strategy. That means your 6, 7, 8 all comes in this failing strategy. Okay, this is an example of Apple iPad. Consider Apple iPad. Why this is a failing strategy? As I told you in the beginning, Apple iPad, they failed. Why? What did they start with? They initially, what did they do? They sold it as a differentiated product with a premium price. Okay, it has excellent features. They have the marketing leading software. Branding was strong. Okay, so Apple is effectively placing the product in position 4 of the strategic law. What is position 4? You don't have to memorize this, by the way. Position 4, 5, 6 like that. In the exam they will not ask you. They might give you and then they will tell you. But for this lecture, what is position 4? If you can recall, position 4 is differentiation. Okay, so Apple is in the differentiation, position 4. Okay, so there may be other companies also who position themselves there. Okay, let's say in position 2, low cost. Okay, how? They are Apple only, but they are selling in the position 2 by selling refurbished iPads. Okay, so the ones that they are selling at a low cost, they do not have the quality of the new iPad. Okay, but they are available at a lower price. The iPad, their name will be iPad only. They will not say this is new iPad, this is old iPad. iPad is iPad, so it will be at a lower price. What happens now? Now you consider a company who decides to place itself in the position 8 on the clock. Okay, how they will position themselves 8 in the clock? We told earlier 8 is a failing strategy. They will do it by trying to sell the refurbished iPads at the same price as new iPad. Same refurbished iPads are not good quality iPads. They are selling the bad quality iPads at the same price as the good quality iPads. You understanding? What are they trying to do? That's why this strategy, it should fail. It should fail. It's not going to work. How it can fail? It can fail in various ways. It can either be beaten on the price. If you see the other positions in that clock, in the price. Why? Because you are not the lowest cost producer. If you are based on the price, other one they will be giving even at a lower price, no? So in the price you might fail. You will be beaten on the price. By whom? The ones who are in the position 2. What is position 2? Low price. So you will be beaten by them because they are lower than you in price. Because they offer the same product that you offer but at a lower price. You will not be able to keep your price that low because you are keeping the price as same as new iPad. New iPads have good quality. Good quality means their prices will be higher. You understanding? Or second way that you will be wiped out is you will be beaten by the Apple. Apple is in position 4. Apple is differentiation. Differentiation means high price, high quality. Who offer a better product at the same price? So at the same price, Apple is offering a better product. So you are going to get beaten by two sides. In position 2 and from position 4. Position 2 is low price, position 4 is differentiation. If you go by the strategy 8. You're understanding what's happening in the Apple industry. This is what's happening. So this is how a strategy will fail. This is how you need to analyze your strategy clock when it is given to you in the question. Whatever the company given to you. Depends on what company it is. Is it a differentiation company? Is it a cost producer company? So I hope with this you will be able to understand your strategy clock better. Now let us do a test your understanding too to see how you can apply the strategy clock in various organizations. Test your understanding too. So in this we have three companies where we have to see what is the position of the strategy clock. Number one is a company selling specialized planting consultation to a new farmers in an area where the company has expertise in the local unusual soil. Okay, so can you understand the company? This is planting consultation. Okay, and this company has expertise in the local unusual soil. Second one is a large manufacturer selling unbranded copies of an old children's toy to a low fixed price retailers. And third is a sole trader selling second-hand tractors at the retail price of the equivalent of new tractors. So we'll see the first one where he has expertise of unusual soil and all. So the first one is a focused differentiation. Why? Because they will be focused on the local area and they have an unusual soil present in the area and they will be able to differentiate based on its specialized knowledge, right? Because they have an specific expertise in the local unusual soil. So whenever you have an expertise in certain things, that shows you are focused. Okay, differentiation. Why? Because they have unusual soil present. It says unusual, so this triggers that it's a differentiation, something unique, something not common, something not usual. Okay, so this is how you understand. Okay, there are always hint in the question given. You must look for those words. Second is a manufacturer. Okay, so here what do you think manufacturer will be? It's a no frill position for the manufacturer. Why? It does not have the branding to offer to a low cost or a differentiated product. Let's see. They have unbranded copies and they are selling to the low fixed price retailers. Okay, so they do not have a brand, it's unbranded. Okay, when something is unbranded, you cannot sell it to the fixed price retailers. They will be taking something of a brand, right? So they do not have the branding to offer to a low cost or a differentiated product. Neither your one is a low cost, you can say, neither your one is a differentiated product. It's unbranded. Third, sole trader selling a tractor to second-hand tractor at a retail price of the equivalent new tractor. This is a strategy which is likely to fail. You can say a failed strategy. Why? Because sole trader is likely to be in an uncompetitive position. There is no competition to you. You are the sole trader. So what happens because of that? It will not be able to compete on either price or quality because you are in an uncompetitive position. Either you cannot compare on the price or the quality. So here saying that you are selling second-hand retailers at the retail price of the equivalent new tractor, this strategy will likely to fail. Okay, so that's it for test your understanding 2. I hope this answers your doubt, and now you are in a better position to answer the position on the strategic clock for any company. You should be able to do it in the exam as well. Now let us move on to the second topic after our competitive strategies, that is sustaining the competitive advantage. Sustaining competitive advantage. Now we are moving on to the second topic of today's lecture, that is sustaining competitive advantage. To sustain competitive advantage, you need three categories, three features you need, or three properties, three characters, I must say. Okay, what is it? You need competitive advantage can be best be sustained by strategic capabilities which has these three qualities. Number one, it should be valued. If you have a strategic capability, let's say your resources or your competences, they are not valued, then it will not give you a competitive advantage. Even if it gives, it will not be sustained over the long term. So it has to be valued, number one. Number two, rare. It should not be something that competitors can easily copy from you. Like some resources or some competences, skills that you have is very rare. It's not available anywhere. And the third is it should be robust, right? So these three qualities are there, you can sustain your competitive advantage. Okay, now let us move on to test your understanding 3. Test your understanding 3, and this will see that why, as you all know that India is very well known for its call center operations, right? Because labors are cheap, they have a common language, and even the property prices are cheap there, and they have the technology which can facilitate the services. But due to certain issues which we'll be going to cover in this, we'll see that why the trend is now reversing, and now why the US and the UK companies want to repatriate their call center services back to their country or some other country. They want to shift it away from India. Why is it so? Okay, there are three reasons for it, as we have just studied. One is robustness, one is rarity, and the other one is value. Because of these three reasons, call center in India is suffering. Okay, because as we told, to sustain competitive advantage you need these three characteristics. If these three are not present, you are not going to sustain. That's why Indian call center services, they are now struggling to maintain their international competitive advantage because of these three reasons. Let's see the explanation for it. So robustness. Okay, what does this mean? This means that now, okay, the demand for the call center staff in India has made it a scarce resource. Okay, so because of that, what happened? Wage rate increased. Okay, they had to push up the wage rate because annual inflation rate was 13% in 2011. Whereas if you see the wage inflation in UK and US, it is falling. Okay, because economic recession was there in the call center. So now no longer a staff is a scarce resource in these countries. If you see the wage rate now, it is even at par with the Indian rates, the wage rates of the call center service, the staff. Okay, and if you see, the other reason is even the property and the rent prices. We told earlier, right? The rent prices are, sorry, the property prices are less in India. Now it is increasing. It has risen sharply, in fact. Okay, so because of this has threatened the cost effectiveness of the center. That means they no longer can be cost effectiveness. That means they cannot no longer be low cost stuff. Like you cannot give them low wages, the call center service stuff, any longer, because of increases in inflation, increases in property rent prices. Okay, coming to the rarity. Here, it is no longer rare now. It is now no longer rare as it was 10 years ago. Now anyone can be a staff in the call center service. Okay, they have reached capacity by the late 90s itself, the domestic call centers. Okay, that means the demand is more than that they can cope with in the last 10 years. Okay, they have invested in extra capacity also so that they can satisfy the need of the domestic customers. Okay, the Indian service is now not as rare as it was 10 years ago. When something is not rare, when something is easily found, uh, you cannot sustain the competitive advantage. It's not rare any longer now. Okay, and the value, finally, what is the value? That domestic customers are complaining now. that they are suffering on the quality of the service that Indian call centers are giving them. Okay, so because of that, US and UK companies are also valuing this service less now. Okay, even there was some political backlash also, that they have been using foreign labor instead of domestic labor for the UK and US, for the US. And on top of that, if you see the staff turnover, it is from 25 to 35% increasing. That means staff are leaving the company. Why? Because they want to seek higher salaries elsewhere. Okay, and it is the one who is leaving are the better staff. The better staffs are leaving. In fact, when better staff leaves, it harms the value of your company. It harms the value of the service that is provided. So all these three reasons is the reason why, you know, the they are no longer able to sustain the competitive advantage, the call center services in India, which they used to have. Okay, even the future, if you see the future, it's like a question mark. Many small Indian call centers, they've closed down also because they could no longer sustain their competitive advantage. Okay, larger firms, however, larger companies, they able to manage the bulk of the customers. But what about the small companies? They closed down. But even if they were able to manage the customer, remember in the future, if you have to sustain that competitive advantage, if you want to be in the market, you have to build value, it has to be rare and robust. New strategic capabilities has to be there. It has to be maintained. Otherwise, no future for call center services in India. Okay. So that's it for test your understanding 3. There are 3 steps that any organization can take to protect their competitive position. Okay, so either they can protect their competitive position through price-based strategies or through further differentiation or lock-in. Okay, so we'll see in depth what these 3 things means and how you can protect your competitive position, starting with price-based strategies. Okay, price-based strategies means if you have seen the strategic clock, it's like no frill position. That is a price-based strategy because you are wherever you're using price. Okay, that is known as price-based strategy. Okay, so no frill position on the strategic clock is one example. Okay, so that you can use. Okay, or this may be able to sustain this position as follows. How? Further cost efficiencies. Okay, if you're having no frill means through no frills. Okay, if no frill is your position, what will you do to achieve that? You will achieve further cost efficiencies, because if you become more cost efficient, automatically your price will go down because you're dealing on price, no price based strategy. Second, winning price wars. You'll be winning the price wars. You'll be the lowest, the one who's charging the lowest price. Then accepting lower margins. Okay, you should be able to accept lower margins. Now, further cost. So this 3 points we are going to explain: further cost efficiency, winning price wars, and accepting lower margins. Further cost efficiencies. How can you achieve further cost efficiencies? See, even if you have got the competitive advantage because of low cost or differentiation technique, okay, still you have to keep on doing certain things. You have to keep on applying techniques so that your rivals are not able to catch up with you, because in the short term, okay, but in the long run you have to do something more, otherwise your rival will catch up with you very easily. For example, if you are a cost leader, okay, after a point in time, if you do not protect your competitive advantage, you will lose your competitive advantage if you do not protect your position right now. Your rivals will catch up. So as rivals try to catch up with organization cost savings, what should you do? You should try to look for more ways to cut your cost down. You just cannot rely on the same old technique where you have reduced cost. Look for more ways. Look for other areas where you can cut the cost. One example is again the airline, the no-frill airline that we all know is Ryanair. Okay, it is a leading no-frill airline in Europe. What do? How do they achieve this cost efficiency? They look for more ways. They look for new ways to cut the cost. So because they look for new ways to cut the cost, this is putting a pressure on the government. How? So that the government allows them to operate flights without a co-pilot. You understanding? It's a risky thing. But if you're taking a co-pilot also, you have to give him his salary. So again, it's a cost. So in order to reduce more cost, what are they doing? They are like, we don't want a co-pilot now. One pilot is enough. And to do this, you cannot do it. Government has to allow it to happen. So it is putting a pressure on government also. And even going to the extreme of using less ice in their drinks in order to slightly reduce the weight of the craft. and even the fuel usage. So Ryanair, if you see, they're so focused on cost reductions, that they have stated that one of their mission is what? Is to able to offer customers free flights in the future. Free flights. Can you understand what must be their mindset about cost reductions? Okay. Second, winning price wars. So you react aggressively to the new entrants. How? You undercut your prices. Okay. Because if you do that, they will be forced to undercut their prices, which will force them eventually to leave the market. Because initially when a new entrant comes, it's hard for them to cut the price. Okay, later on, once they are settled, established and all, they can cut the price, but initially it's hard. So what do they do as a result? They leave the market. So after they leave the market, what do the cost leader do? They again restore that margin. Again, they will bring up their prices where it was before the new entrants came. One example is the News Corporation, the News Corp. What is the News Corp? It is a multinational media company. Okay, like they sell their products such as daily newspaper. Okay, what did one newspaper do? One newspaper, okay, in certain market, they were attacked by a new rival. How? Because the rival wanted to provide better news analysis at the same selling price. So what happens? Could they vote against the New Corp? No, they were not. Why? Because New Corp, they had a lower production runs per unit due to economies of scale. They have economies of scale. News Corp, they were enjoying economies of scale. So because of that, what did the News Corp do as a retaliation to that? They reduced their selling price. News Corp, they reduced their selling price by 2/3 for 1 month. 2/3, it's a big amount. That means 66.60, around 67%. They reduced their selling price for 1 month. Because of this thing, what happened? Because of this, their existing readers, whoever were there reading their newspaper, the News Corps, they did not move to the new rival. Because imagine 67% price cut. So the rivals, your customers did not move away to the rivals. So they were able to retain the customer for that time. By the end of the month, what happened? What was the result? Because they told they will reduce the price 2/3 by for 1 month only. After the end of the month, what was the scenario? The new rival, okay, the new newspaper company who came, they abandoned the production. Why? Because they were not able to bear the losses. They had to abandon the production. Okay, so these are all techniques that a company needs to use. Okay, this is how they get the price based on the price they compete. Third is accepting lower margins. Okay, how? See, low cost providers, okay, they have to reduce their selling prices because their cost is low. So because they have to reduce their selling prices means they are getting lower margins. Okay, but on one hand side, this is compensated how? Because of higher volumes. Because the ones who are competing on price, on the cost, they have higher volumes, so they can compensate by that. The reduction in price will be compensated by the high volumes. That's how they get the margin, right? The sales. Okay, so for example, company like Society Bic, what did they do? They produce the big pen, or you can say it is known as Biro or the Crystal. Okay, they have made that pen. This achieved low cost position in 1960s. 1960s, they were the low cost position. Over the last 50 years, many rivals came. Many rivals tried to match with the company's cost of production so that their margin per unit increases. But what happens? Sorry, their margin per unit on the product has steadily eroded. Okay, eroded. The rivals we are talking about. The rivals' margin per unit eroded. During this, what Big did, they still managed to make very large profits on the product. Okay, even though they continue to be a market leader in the disposable pen and sell a product in large volumes. Okay, sorry, they were able to make large profits because they were the market leader in disposable pens and they sell products in large volumes. Over 100 billion of pens has been produced. 100 billion. So even though margin per unit has fallen, The volume is there to compensate for it. So big, they continue to make profits which are larger than all of their rivals. Understanding? So okay, they accept low margins. The one who do price strategy through price like big, okay, they accept lower margins. But on the other hand, they have a volume also, huge volume. So that lower margin is not affecting them so much. Still they are making profit. How big has? Now, differentiation based strategy. This is a bit lengthier than the price based strategy. Okay, but no worries. We'll slowly cover one by one. Okay, because my main motive is to take you through one by one. Okay, and not to rush through and just memorize. Don't memorize these points. It will not help you at all. I'm telling you. Okay, but make sure that you do not mix one with the other. Okay, price is price based, differentiation is difference, and lock is lock. Okay, so this can be sustained. How can you sustain a differentiation based strategy? Creating difficulties in imitation. When you are differentiating, make in such a way that it is very hard for the competitors to copy certain aspect of a product. Okay, we are not saying that everything you can design in such a way that cannot be copied. There are some aspect, like mostly physical aspect, they can be copied, but make sure that some aspect has to be there which is very difficult for the competitors to imitate. Otherwise you will lose your uniqueness. You are there in the market because you are differentiate, you are unique. So if that uniqueness is gone, if competitors can come easily and imitate your product, you are not sustaining the advantage. Second is achieving imperfect mobility of resources and reinvesting margins. Let's see what it means. First is creating difficulty. As I told, something strategic capability has to be there which is cannot be copied by the rivals. Example, like through patent protection, you have a patent protection for your product, or you use a unique production methods that cannot be copied by the rivals, or you have certain technology which rivals does not have access to, or you are tying in the supplier, your supply is with you. They told that they are only going to supply you and no one else. You people have such contract. Second is achieving imperfect mobility of resource. What does it mean? This means that capabilities that create the differences, whatever the capabilities you have, because of that which there's a difference between you and the rival, they cannot be traded to the rival. How? You can tie your key stuff to the long-term and non-competition contract. Tie them, keep them for a longer term, rather than letting them go simply to the rivals. Protecting the insider knowledge and the creating intangible assets such as brand names. Okay, because when you create intangible assets like a brand name, remember it's difficult for competitors to compete on this, to copy this aspect. Maybe physical aspect, the way it looks like and all, they can copy easily, but what about the brand name? That's not something that can be copied by just looking at it. Okay, now reinvesting margins. When you invest profits in areas like innovation or knowledge management, you can sustain a competitive advantage in the long run. How? One example is Apple. Okay, what do Apple do? Apple knows that rival is someday going to catch with the Apple. So what do the Apple do? Apple says that we have to come with the next innovation after our first innovation in such a speed that by the time rival is able to match us with our previous product, we are almost out with the next product. That's what Apple did with iPhone or iPad. They quickly came up with iPhone and iPad. So Apple are busy working on the next innovation. That means if rivals even they caught up with one innovation, you are way ahead of them because you are in the next innovation. Okay, how can Apple will still be differentiated in this? You launch a updated product, updated phone or a tablet with a new innovation, something like that you can do. Now, differentiation through innovation. Innovation in any field you see is very important for your strategic success. Okay, you need innovation. Without innovation, you cannot operate. So, what are the reasons? Number one, the reason why through innovation you have to differentiate is because increased rate of technical advances. If you see the technical advances at such a speed, rapidly it is increasing. Earlier it was every 10 years that technology used to get improved or updated. Now, maybe not even 2 years, I would say 6 months maybe. Increased competition. Because competition has increased so much, so you differentiate through innovation. Third, increased customer expectations. Customers' expectations has improved so much that they are just not happy with the basic. They want more, they want more, they want more innovation. Okay. Now moving on to strategy, differentiation through innovation only. So an innovation strategy calls for a management policy of giving encouragement to innovative ideas. So that means you want someone to encourage you for your ideas. Innovation strategy just does not come like that. Someone needs to be giving the innovative ideas and someone needs to support those innovative ideas. It's a two-way communication or two-way relation, I should say. And this has number of aspects. What is it? Number one, financial backing must be given to innovation. Okay. If someone says that we are going to make an innovation, make sure that you give them a financial backing. How? You spend on R&D, you do market research, and you risk capital on new ideas. Second, employees must be given opportunity to work in an environment, okay, where exchange of ideas or innovations can take place. They should not work in an environment which is very close-minded, which is very rigid, which just follow the rules. No, wherever innovation takes place, it is appreciated. Employees should work on those working environment. Even the management style needed has to be appropriate, and organization structure. All these things are needed. Then we have management. Okay. What can they do? They can encourage the employees or the customers to put forward their ideas. Okay, so what happens when subordinates, they participate more and more in developing decisions? What do? They become involved in the development projects as well as committed to their success also. Okay, now next. Now, development teams can be set up and organization built up on project network. Okay, so to innovate, you can set up a development teams in the company, and also you can encourage that organization builds up a project teamwork, because innovation does not happen single-handedly. Okay, not a one person you can say is responsible for innovation. Okay, if you want to differentiate through innovation, you need a group of people, you need a teamwork. Okay, from the idea to designing the innovation, to marketing the innovation, to finance the innovation, you need different sets of people. Okay, now where appropriate, recruitment policy should be directed towards appointing employees with the necessary skills for doing innovative work. Some employees are so innovative, like they have a particular skills for innovative. It's not that other employees do not have, but some it can be seen, okay, through their creative work, through the ideas that they have done. So when you are recruiting, there should be a recruitment policy that when you're hiring employees, you should hire employees with such skills. Okay, because to differentiate through innovation, you need employees who have the necessary skills for innovation, who has unnecessary interest for innovation. Okay, and employees should be trained and kept up to date. Okay, innovation today will not work in the future. Okay, it will be outdated. See, innovation soon becomes outdated. So once you innovate, it's not that it will work forever. You have to keep on innovating, you have to be updated. Employees has to be trained for it. Then we have certain managers who are responsible for obtaining information regarding innovative ideas, and they communicate this throughout the organization. Now, Richard identifies that there are three distinctive roles for innovation within a business level strategy. What are the three roles of innovation? Number one, achieving new growth through entry into new markets and products. You can innovate by entering into new product or market. That is one way of innovation. Second is retaining competitive advantage by strengthening the product offering. You have the same product, but you are just strengthening the product offering. Through the same product, you are having the innovation. And the third is achieving competitive advantage through jumping ahead of the existing rivals. This is a big step now. This is a very big step. Okay. Compared to the first two, the last one is more risky. Okay. Now, acquiring new technologies. So these are some ways again you can differentiate through innovation. How you acquire new technologies. You need technologies to innovate. You cannot say without technology we are going to innovate. Okay, in today's world it's not possible. So if you don't have the technologies, if you don't have the resources, what do? Simply just acquire it. Okay, and when you acquire it, remember new technologies can emerge in one of the two ways. Okay, One is technology push, the other one is market pull technologies. What is the difference between these two? Technology push, as you can understand, is something pushing, you're pushing towards it. And market pull is you're pulling, right? We all know, but what is the exact difference when it comes to technology, in terms of technology? Okay, see, technology push is something you have the technology with you through which you are coming up with the product, you are making it, and then you are expecting the customers to buy from you. You're basically using the technology. Okay, market pull technologies means it is like an whatever is there in the market, it's like a disruptive technology, you can say. Okay, not exactly disruptive technology, but as you go, as you keep on making strategy, you come to know, okay, there is a demand for the market or there is a new technology, so you are using that technology now, okay, to pull the customers towards you rather than you pushing using technology and making product. You see what technology is in the market and you use the technology and you pull the customers, okay, towards you. Okay, this is the simplest definition that I can give you. Definitely throughout the lecture we are going to discover more on these two techniques of technologies. Now, either you can acquire new technologies or you can exploit the existing technology. Whatever technology you have exploited. How? An organization that develops an advantage in a particular technology. If you have an advantage in particular technology, why not use it for market development? Right? Because you have the knowledge, you have the competences, you have the technology, why not take it to a new market? If you can apply it in this market, you can apply it in the new market also. One example is switching from entertainment to data storage. Why? Because for this both you need a similar type of technology. Okay, so what happens is once you have the knowledge of a particular technology, if you're using it for entertainment, you can use it for data storage also. So through this way, what are you going to achieve? You're going to have a diversified product range, not just the technology entertainment. Now you're going to have data storage also. Okay, so you can say discovery in one area can readily be applied to another. It's like you don't have to work hard every time. You find the mine of a gold mine once, and from there you can just keep on taking the gold. That's it. So this is also like you discover once and you use it throughout. Replicate the same process. Once you have the knowledge, just apply it. This is called as exploitation of existing technologies. Then we have innovation and existing product. Okay, this is regarding your product life cycle. This is linking innovation with your product life cycle. If you can recall, what is your product life cycle? We go through the introduction, then a growth, then maturity, then decline. All the product goes through this stage. Okay, so at certain stage in that product life cycle, the innovation may be a threshold competence. That means it's a minimum. At up to a certain point, it's a minimum that you have to innovate. Otherwise, you cannot survive in the market. One example is mobile phone and software. In mobile phones and software, what happens? It is important to maintain product features at least as good as those of competing product. Even if you're not going ahead, but you have to be matching with your competitor at least. So the features that you give in the software and the mobile phone should at least match with the competing products. Here, the technology driven strategies tend to be more effective than the market ones. Why? Because many users will be unaware of the possibilities of the technologies. You understanding? So here, innovation plus good sales skills are threshold competence. What is it? You need innovation and also you need good sales skill to sell it. Just having innovation, not good enough. These are threshold. Threshold means minimum you need. Think about the core. We are not even talking about core competences and all. This is just a minimum to for this thing. Then, now let's picture all this overall. Whatever we went through. So overall, a successful company is what? In short, if I have to tell you, a successful company is one that has these following features. Number one, it is outlooking. They know that a change is constant, change is always going to take place. Okay, so accordingly they review their product market policy continuously. They'll do that. Second, always looking for the future for the new market. innovative product, better designs, better ideas, new process, improve quality, increase productivity, always looking for it. They do not stick to one. Even if they come up with new innovative product, next they'll be like, how can I make this more innovative? How can I go to the next level? It's always like that. Third, a structured design for innovation. They have a structured design for innovation. Okay, and in that they have the management and the staff also. They also think and act in such a way. Innovatively they'll be acting. So you can recognize them as entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs means they are inside the organization. Okay. So what happens? And ensure that everyone welcomes the change for the better. Everyone takes part in the innovation process because they believe change is good for the organization, include the senior people as well. So this is like a structure that a company should have for it to be successful. So what are the three things? Outward looking, constant, accept the change that it's constant. Second, look for better ideas, better innovative products. Third, structure, design your structure in such a way that everyone takes part in innovation. Then a company becomes successful. Okay, this is, we are talking about differentiation. This does not come when you want to be a cost leader. For cost leader and all, you do not have to worry so much about change and all. Now, and the last one is, it stimulates creativity and rewards ideas and supports individual and team abilities. You have to be able to reward ideas. You have to support the individuals and the teams so that environment of creativity is there. Now, what is the impact of the new product or the process or the service development and innovation in supporting organization strategy? How can innovation support organization strategy? We are saying, okay, innovate, innovate, innovate. How? Because ultimately you have to link everything with the strategy. These are the same few ways. It will close the gap between your current strategic position and where you want to achieve, where you want to go in the future. This I told you in the beginning of the lecture. What is strategic choice? It is just simply closing the gap where you are from where you want to be in the future. Obviously, there'll be some gap. You are currently not at your best. You want to reach somewhere in the future. So you want to close that gap. Means you have some position in your mind, some mission in your mind that this is your mission. You want to come from A to B. So how you go from A to B? Through innovation. Innovation closes that gap. Second is, new launches can be a differentiator. And innovative organizations can be more attractive. Okay, why do you innovate and how can it help in strategy? Because when you innovate, you are seen as more attractive to customers as well as investors. Investors might want to invest in your company. Customers want to buy from your company. So ultimately what's happening? You are achieving the objective. You are achieving your strategy. Your strategy is what? To increase sales, to increase profit. Third, many new developments failed. Innovations are not always successful. Innovation is a very risky strategy. Remember that. Therefore, launching more than one new development can diversify away some of this risk. What does it mean? Don't go just with one product for innovation or one process or one service. Always go for multiple. Always keep backups. Go for multiple so that if one fails, somewhere the other will be successful, and you can diversify your risk so that you are not dependent on one thing. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. There's a saying like that. Rather keep it in separate. So if one falls, the other will be having a positive return and your risk will be diversified. As products and service age, what happens? New developments need to be found to replace them. At a certain point of time, your product and services, no matter how successful it is in the beginning, it will become age, it will be outdated or obsolete. You need new developments to replace them. Okay, and when should this happen? When the products and services already are there at the dog stage, they decline? No. Before they start to experience that decline phase or declining in the sales, you have to come up with new developments. You understanding? You have to extend that product life cycle so that the product does not become a dog, according to BCG matrix, which we are going to cover in the next lecture. BCG matrix, ANSOF matrix, all those things we are going to cover. Now, still we are in the same impact. New developments are often copied by rivals. Okay, so because they can be copied by rivals, your competitive advantage is only for short term. What should organization do? They should always think about their next development. While their rivals are busy catching up with your existing development, think about the next. So when you're developing currently, let's say you're thinking of one innovation, always think 2-3 innovations ahead. That after this I'll be doing this, after this I'll be doing that. Then development ensures an organization to be flexible and to learn. Okay, you become more flexible as an organization, you learn more. Okay, and this could be your critical success factor. for your future, especially when the environments are changing. Organizations will focus on quality. Sorry, with a focus on quality, see continuous improvement as core competences. If you are continuously focusing on quality, because innovation means quality only rather than cost. You focus on quality means you are doing a continuous improvement. So this can be seen as a core competence. That means you have a core competence that you are continuously improving in your quality. So this makes your competitive advantage last longer than your competitor. Also easier also. You can easily achieve your competitive advantage either by cutting down the cost or you're differentiating your business. Now, let's go through an illustration why innovation is so important. Just a few minutes, guys. Okay, so illustration one, the importance of innovation. Okay, we'll take the example of Amazon because it is the biggest example that one can take as an example when innovation comes. Okay, so Amazon first appeared on the internet in 1995 selling books. Okay, it was a major innovator in the business of internet retailing, and soon CDs and DVDs were added to its product list. First it was just books, later they have added CDs and DVDs also on the in the product list. Okay, so the website that they allowed customers to reach a very extensive data, search for a very extensive data, and to order the goods. Normally it takes by post in few days, right? So the website also allows customers to write reviews. In that you can write reviews about products, you can inform customers how customers of a particular product bought other products, right? So consumer goods such as electronics are now available from Amazon. It's just not books any longer. How we used to think books. Amazon is not known for its books only online. It's a vast online shopping now. You can even order electronics from there. Okay, so although Amazon is a preeminent in internet based sales of books, it started with books, CDs, DVDs. Amazon did not just stop there. They still kept innovating, they still kept adding more and more product in the website. And also not just a product, they innovated in terms of process also. They changed their process also. Okay. So what the company did, Amazon, they started investing heavily on the technology. Okay, why? So that customers can download books, they can download music, they can download video over the internet rather than this being delivered over the post, which takes few days, right? I'm sure most of us here, we are at the stage where we are all dependent on Amazon. Whatever we need, we order it on Amazon, right? So the company is being forced to innovate. Why? Why Amazon is forced to innovate? Because competitors like whom? Apple, iTunes. They are very successful in selling audio downloads. and they have also made movies also, which is available for downloading. So now Amazon cannot stop here. Amazon has to come up with something else, or even better than Apple iTunes, right? So on-demand printing of book is now suitable for lower volume. See, for lower volume books, you can even do this also. If someone wants to print a book, they can do on-demand printing of books. You demand and the book is printed. But it is only suitable for lower volume books, because otherwise, how many papers will be wasted, right? So what did Amazon do? Amazon came up with a new idea. What is it? They developed Kindle and Kindle Fire. This became essential to Amazon, because without this Kindle and Kindle Fire, Amazon is risking to lose a business to the other innovative alternative method for delivery of its product. Like Amazon was rather, like Amazon will be competed by the rivals if they are not able to come up with Kindle and Kindle Fire. Okay, because this is an innovative alternative method of delivery for this product. Through this, they deliver their product. It's an alternative method. Okay, this is exactly same like how Amazon, when first it came, they attacked itself conventional book and music shops. Earlier there were conventional book and music shops. Amazon came in the picture and completely the industry is wiped out. So the same way Amazon also can be wiped out from its competitor, which is Apple iTunes, if it does not come up with alternative methods like this for delivering of its product, like Kindle and Kindle Fire, which is successful for, it worked for Amazon, right? Now, lock-in strategies. This is the third strategy. First we went through price-based strategy, then differentiation-based strategy. Now it is locked in, the third one, and this is very small. Okay, so in this you try to lock in into a particular, whatever industry you are, you lock in your competitors. Sorry, you lock in your customers in your, so that they do not go to the rivals. This approach can work for both price-based and differentiation-based strategy. When does it happen? This happens when a business products become the industry standard. Some business products are like industry standards. Examples like Microsoft Windows. Are there any competitor of Microsoft Windows? They are industry standard. Dolby and Internet Explorer. We all use this. They are locked in. Okay. So these are not necessarily the best. Or see, if you see this lock-in, you cannot say they're the best or the cheapest products. So they are not in the differentiation also, they are not in the price-based strategy also. But they have market dominance. They have such a market dominance that competitors find it very difficult to break into this market, because users are locked into the product. And because users are locked into a certain type of product, like Microsoft Windows, for example, they find it very expensive and inconvenient also for them to switch to the rivals. Why do they want to switch from to another software whereas they have industry standard like Microsoft Windows? It's expensive for them, and also it will be inconvenient also. Over the years we have been using the Microsoft Windows. Now it's very difficult for them to switch to rivals, and users does not want also. They will resist if you tell them to do it. So the major threat to such businesses is what? To this businesses like Microsoft Windows, what could be the major threat? If they're locked, if they are protected so well, what could be a major threat? The major threat is, it is likely to be an attention from anti-monopoly regulators, the one who says monopoly should not be there. Anti-monopoly means against monopoly. They do not support monopoly. So if the regulators, they are like, you cannot keep a monopoly, you have to let other firms come, then it will be a threat for the Microsoft Windows. Then it will be a threat for the Dolby or the Internet Explorer. Currently it's not, but if it is so in the future, could be. So that's it for sustaining competitive advantage. Okay, the next lecture, that is part 2 of this lecture, strategic choice, will be focusing on the two things: growth strategies, your ANSOF matrix will be doing there, and the other one is SAF model, suitability, acceptability, feasibility, how you evaluate the strategic choices. This too we are going to cover in the part 2 of this video. So till then, keep watching and see you in the part 2 of the video.